Hi everyone, this is Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with a fun beading tutorial for you. But before we get started, just a quick reminder to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss any of our content. So, recently I watched a really inspiring movie. You might have heard of it. It's called Nosferatu and is directed by Robert Eggers, and I don't like horror movies typically, but this film is mostly and first and foremost piece of art. It's really beautiful. It even depicts some, ugly things in a beautiful way. And I got really inspired by it, especially by the Victorian fashion of the women that are in this movie because it's the 1830s. So as you can imagine, in Europe, the fashion trends and the jewelry trends were pretty interesting, pretty kind of gothic, romantic, this sort of stuff. And this inspired me to make these earrings. I call them the Ellen earrings because that's the name of the main character in the film. And these are inspired by her and her jewelry and her fashion in the movie. So without further ado, let me tell you what supplies you're gonna need to make the earrings. First and foremost, we have some seed beads, and we're gonna be using 3mm bugle beads. Then we have a Toho 11 These are Toho rounds. I do believe that Miyuki would be okay, but this would be a little bit more tense and a little cupped because Toho beads are just a little bit wider than Miyuki, so the shape is kind of different. So for this one, I do recommend Toho beads. Then we have these Preziosa Montees, which are these crystals. These are flat back crystals in a silver setting, and they look really gorgeous, whatever you use them for. So we're gonna need just 2 of them. I'll also be using some 3mm bicone beads. You can use Preziosa, but if you want an even more polished and perfect look, you can use Elite Eureka Crystal bicones in 3mm. Then we're gonna need 2 of the side drilled drops. As you can see, they have a hole right there. So they're drilled on the side, which is perfect because that's exactly how we want them. Then a really important element are these jump rings, and make sure these are 6mm. Like the outer diameter needs to be 6mm. These are 20 gauge, but you can use 18 gauge as well. They need to be on the thicker side, and look for those that have a seam that's almost invisible. So they're completely closed, and that's how we want them because we're actually going to bead around these jump rings. So you're just gonna need 2 of them. Finally, some earring findings, and I'll be using these leverback earring findings. They are very secure because you close them using this kind of lever mechanism. And they match what the women wore in the movie as well. So that's just a little detail that I noticed that I decided to replicate. Now, you can make these earrings as studs, as earring posts, just like this as well. And instead of the jump ring, then you use just seed beads over here. I don't know if you can see, there's seed beads. And let us know in the comments if you want some instructions on how to do this instead of the dangle earring. So the process here is a little bit different without the jump ring, but yes, you absolutely can do it. So let us know if you want the instructions for this one as well. Alright, that's it for the supplies. Let's start beading, and please forgive my ridiculous nails for this video. I just really wanted to get into the mood of the entire Victorian vampire movie with the long, uncomfortable nails in a dark color, so please excuse them. Let's start beading. By the way, you're also going to need a needle and a thread, of course. I'll be using the needle size 12, but 11 will be okay as well. And I'll be using 6-pound Fireline thread in the color Smoke. I do recommend heavier thread for this, so 6 or 8-pound will be good. We're gonna need about half a wingspan of thread for this, and we're gonna go straight in with our jump ring. So what you do is you just go through the jump ring get it down your thread, and now we're gonna tie 2 knots on top of that jump ring. So I'm just gonna tie the knot with the working end of my thread. Now another one. There, that's enough. We're gonna weave in the other end later anyway, but this is just to kind of stabilize the work. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick up a bugle and a 11-0 and a bugle, and you're gonna go inside the jump ring. Again, make sure the jump ring is fully closed so that the thread won't kind of escape from inside of it as you go around. And we're just going to do some brick stitch here. So I kind of forced my beads to go like this so that both of the bugles are kind of facing the jump ring with their holes. And I'm gonna go through the second bugle that I added towards the 11-0 on top. And that's what they're gonna do. If they don't go together at the bottom right away, you just wait. It will all kind of take shape at the end. And now you're gonna be adding a single 11-0 and a bugle each time. You're gonna go inside the jump ring. See, and if the beads go inside the jump ring as well, because you're kind of too intense with it, you just push them back. Because what you need to do is you need to go through that bugle bead upwards again and kind of affix it to the jump ring there. So that this is what you get. Again, 11-0 and then a bugle. You go inside the jump ring, and I'm trying to hold it with my other finger or my other nail in the case so that the beads don't go inside. So I'm just blocking them from going inside. I go up the bugle and just the bugle, and this is what you get. And you need 12 of these sets of bugle and 11-0 around your jump ring, and you probably won't fit more because that's the perfect size of a jump ring for 12 bugles around it. Okay, that's gonna be my 12th bugle and 11-0. Passing through that bugle. Now I'm just missing one 11-0. And I'm gonna pass down that first bugle that I added, and I'm gonna go behind the jump ring there, like this, to close the circle, close that ring. And I'm gonna go up this bugle again to reinforce it. Now there's your base for the earring. Now I'm gonna look where my tail thread is. This is the back. So this is gonna be my front. And now I want to attach my montee crystal. Montee? Let me know how you think it should be pronounced in the comments. So I'm passing through one of the 11-0s next to the bugle that I was just coming out of. I'm going down the next bugle towards the center. I pick up my montee crystal because they have those two kind of crisscrossing channels there, and you can just go through them with your needle in case you don't know. So I pick up my crystal. I look at where the opposite bugle is on the opposite side, and I go through that. Now, whichever way, I'm gonna go through one of the 11-0s that are next to the bugle that I was coming out of, and I'm gonna go down the next bugle here. We're going to attach this crystal to two bugles at the same time. So I'm going down this bugle next to it, and I'm gonna go in the same opening that my thread was coming out of, that I went through before. And now I look in the opposite direction, and now I'm coming out of this bugle in here, right? So the one opposite to it will be this one, which is next to the one that we previously attached this crystal to. So maybe I'll just go through the crystal alone. And now through that bugle opposite to the one that we just attached to. And now after I position it, I'm just gonna hold it down a little bit and pull my thread so that it's kind of set in place a little bit more. Now I'm going to go towards the bugles that are above the opening here that is not yet attached to my beadwork. So these two here. So I need to go in this direction, but I still have one more bugle to go. So not this one, but the next one, this one here. So I need to put something in here. So I'm already putting in my first 11 in this row because we're going to be putting some more later. But now I just don't want to go up and down these bugles, and I need to get to this next bugle in here to attach the crystal. So I go down this bugle towards that crystal here. I'm gonna go through it. I'm gonna go through that opening in that montee crystal, and I'm gonna go into the bugle opposite the one that I was just coming out of. So I was coming out of this one in here. So the opposite one is here, this one. So that's where I'm gonna try to pass through. Right like this. Now I'm gonna pass through the next 11 bead. I'm gonna go down the next bugle here and through that same opening. And I'm gonna go through the bugle that's opposite of the one that I just came through. So I just went through this one. So the opposite will be this one in here. So I'm just gonna try and go through that. Right, and now the crystal is attached to the beadwork in the center, and 4 threads hold it, so it should be all right. Right, now I'm gonna go towards that one bead that I already added, which is here, that 11 So I'm going through the 11 connecting the next two bugles, like that, and now I'm going to alternate between 11s and 3mm bicones in those spaces between those initial first 11s. So I'm picking up a 3mm bicone because there is a seed bead here, so I'm just gonna go with a bicone now because we're gonna alternate bicone seed bead. And remember to pull on your thread gently now because those bicones, they can be very aggressive with the thread. So just make sure you're delicate. Another bicone because I went through that 11 that I added previously. Now an 11. And you just go through every of the 11s that were in that first row that we were doing around the jump ring. Alright, so I went all around adding 11s and 3mm bicones. Now it's time to add the drop. And you can do it in many ways, but my favorite is the following. So I'm gonna pick up 2 11s, a bugle and 11s and my drop, and then 11 bugle to 11s, so the same but in reverse on the other side. And I'm gonna go around the bicone that I'm coming out of here. Just like that, and this is already quite a nice kind of structure, I think, with the bugles. So you can feel free to just leave it like that. It looks awesome as well. Just maybe go through all of those beads one more time to reinforce it. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a bead that's gonna kind of put it together and make it into a more aesthetic look, in my opinion at least. And I'm gonna do it by going down all that sequence here through my drop, and then up through the 11 and the bugle, Then I'm gonna pick up a single 11-0 and I'm gonna try to find a more narrow one, more kind of rondelle shaped one. And what I'll do is I'll go down the other bugle, down towards the drop again. And when you pull it together, it's gonna kind of create this nice shape here. So I'm gonna go through the drop again and up all the way this time. Towards my bicone here and through that bicone. And what you get is this cute kind of extra shape here. I really like that. Okay, now I'm going to go all the way up to the opposite bicone to attach the earring finding, and that will be it. That will be the earring. So you can basically make a pair in like 40 minutes. They are gorgeous, so I'll be making them for all of my family, maybe in different colors. But yeah, it's a really cute earring and you make it in no time. Alright, my thread is coming out of the bicone opposite the bottom one, so it's time to just add the earring finding, and I'm gonna do that by picking up a bicone and 11-0, then my earring finding, and then 11-0 bicone. And mind the front, because you have the crystal in the front, so it does matter which side you pick, so you can just look at where it's gonna be and if it's the right way forward. And you just go around through that same bicone that you were coming out of. And I'm gonna go through all of those beads 2 more times, and I'll make sure that the earring finding is kind of placed in between the beads and not just held up by just the thread. So not just like that, but you have to pull it together, pull that a little bit down so that the earring finding, that loop, is like in between the beads, and it's the beads that hold it and not the thread. So just like that. And the only thing left to do is to find a place to make a knot, weave in my tail, cut off the excess thread, do the same with the tail thread on the other side, and that's it. And these are the earrings. Let us know what you think of this design. I hope you liked the tutorial. All of the supplies can be found, of course, at eurekacrystalbeads.com. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next tutorial. Bye!